Hello students, welcome to class 11 biology. Today we are going to continue with body fluids and circulation. It is biozoology chapter 7. So far we have learnt about human digestive system and respiratory system. Today we will learn about circulatory system. It is one of the most important, familiar and interesting topics. Yes, so in this lesson we will learn about body fluids and the organs concerned with the circulation. They are blood vessels and the heart. Okay, and any diseases that is arising in this system is also being discussed as we have learnt in digestive system and respiratory system. Follow? So heart diseases and the diagnosis is also discussed at the end of this lesson. To start with the lessons, it starts like animals, particularly large animals like mammals are more active. They depend on locomotion to find food. Okay, so the food only provides energy for us. Nervous system is required to coordinate all the activities. So do you remember we have learnt about the nervous regulation of the respiratory system. So we need the regulatory system for the other systems to perform properly. That is the nervous system. Okay, so all living cells have to be supplied with the nutrients. So how this nutrients comes into our body? Through food. We are eating food that is getting digested to make it into simpler form or simpler absorbable form. So if it is going to be in absorbable form, it will be taken by, what is the structure that is absorbing? Yes, correct, villi. So through villi it is taken to the blood. Yes, so blood is rich in nutrient now that is supplied to all the cells. That is what is said here. So living cells have to be supplied with nutrients and also oxygen. Not only supplying, that the cell may produce the waste material and carbon dioxide that also should be taken back from the cell. These functions are being carried out by the blood transportation. Okay, so you can see the different groups of animals have evolved different methods of transport. Yes, we have learnt about earthworm, cockroach, frog. Yes, so they have different kinds of circulatory system. Okay, water from their surrounding enters into the body cavity to facilitate the cells to exchange the substance by diffusion that we have seen in the case of lower organisms. Most complex organisms use special fluids and well organized transport system within their body, okay, to transport such materials by bulk flow, okay, or connective transport with the pumps. So do you understand what is bulk flow? Which is having the organized structure in order to supply nourishment, in order to get back the waste material from the living cell. Follow? The phenomenon of bulk flow is fundamental in many physiological processes. What is physiology? It is a functioning of the organ system. The function, that is digestive function, respiratory function, that is what is called as physiology, like respiration, digestion and excretion. The bulk flow of fluids can transport substances to long distances faster than by diffusion. Do you follow what is diffusion? It is just moving. Okay, so instead of just moving from one cell to another, from one part to another, if it is going to be the transport through the blood vessel with the particular pressure, it will be easier and faster. Do you follow? Bulk flow is advantageous because it fastens the reaction. Okay. The human circulatory system can circulate a milliliter of blood from heart to feet back again within 60 seconds. Okay, rather than 60 years, which may be needed if it is done by diffusion. So they mean to say that the diffusion is slow process. So the complex structure of the human organization makes it to happen quicker by bulk flow. Yes, within our body, the oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in lungs and tissues, whereas nutrients from the digestive system are carried to the liver. Then waste from the tissues are also carried by the blood. Finally, they are removed by kidneys. The hormones are transported to their target organs. What is target organ? If pituitary is secreting one hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. So it has to go and stimulate thyroid, right? So that is the target organ. For TSH, thyroid gland is the target organ. Okay. So next we will go for the circulatory system that helps to maintain homeostasis of the body fluids and body temperature. What is homeostasis? What is homeostasis? The word means balance. Yes, the homeostatic regulation of cardiovascular system maintains blood flow or perfusion to the heart and brain. In vasovagal syncope, fainting it is given. Follow? So homeostatic regulation, that is making the flow of the blood to be normal. Okay. So the cardiovascular system maintains blood flow to the heart and to the brain. Okay. So that failing which it may cause the fainting. Signals from the nervous system cause a sudden decrease in the blood pressure and individual faints from lack of oxygen. Follow. You may think blood is not going. What is bothering with the oxygen? So it clearly states that oxygen to the brain is supplied through the blood. Follow. So then in this chapter you will learn how heart blood vessels work together. Heart and blood vessels work together and what will be the problem and how to prevent them. Okay. So body fluid. In general, in body we have fluid circulating other than blood also. The body fluid of water and substance dissolved in them. There are two types of body fluids. Intracellular fluid, inside, inter, in between. This you should remember well. Intra, inside, inter, in between. Yes. So the intracellular fluid present inside the cell and extracellular fluids present outside the cell. There are three types of extracellular fluids. They are interstitial fluid. I repeat, interstitial fluid. It is also called as tissue fluid, which is surrounding the cells. The plasma, that is the component of the blood. And lymph. You should have come across this term, lymph, in earlier classes. Lymph is very, very important in fighting against the pathogens. Pathogens or disease causing organisms. Okay. So and the blood flowing into the capillary from arteriole has high hydrostatic pressure. This pressure is brought about by the pumping action of the blood. Okay. And it tends to force the water and small molecules out through the permeable walls of the capillaries into the tissue fluid. This pressure may cause the movement of the fluid from capillary to outside also. The volume of the fluid which leaves the capillary from the tissue fluid is a result of two pressure, that is hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. Do you follow? So capillaries, blood is going, pressure is created, small amount of liquid is sent out from the capillary. Once it is sent out, where will it be? It will be there in between the cell. That is what we call it as tissue fluid. Do you follow? So some of the liquid is coming out because of the pressure in the capillary, right? So this pressure can be called as hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure, right? So at the anterior end of the capillary bed, see, you are coming across a new term here, capillary bed. What is capillary? What is capillary? It is a very small blood vessel, right? So when you have number of capillaries, you have 50 to hundreds of capillaries in a place which is forming the network like structure, then you call it as capillary bed. The water potential is lesser than the hydrostatic pressure inside the capillary bed, which is enough to push the fluid outside. So the pressure outside is lesser than the pressure inside, so that the fluid comes out to form the tissue fluid. So tissue fluid, now we are describing the tissue fluid. It has got the low concentration of protein than the plasma. At the venous end of the capillary bed, the water potential is greater than the hydrostatic pressure, and the fluid from the tissue flows into the capillary, and water is drawn back into the blood, taking with the waste products produced by the cell. So all you need to understand is capillary is a blood vessel. It is not like plastic tube. There is no leakage, you cannot say. It is like the living thing where there is a pressure, there will be movement of fluid outside and also inside based on the pressure present. If the pressure is outside more, then the water or the fluid is being pushed into the capillary. If the pressure inside the capillary is more, the fluid tend to come outside the capillary. How does it come? Through the capillary walls. Yes? Okay. So next we are moving for the composition of the blood. What are all the components present in the blood? So you tell me, what are the components present in the blood? You know already? Yes? So the major component of the blood is plasma. So it is a major fluid component. It constitutes about 55% of the total blood volume. Okay, when remaining 45% is formed elements that consist of the blood cells. To make you understand, I will tell you, because it is given in percentage. You can remember in this way. 100 ml of blood, if you want to make, you have to, or otherwise if you are having 100 ml of blood, it will contain 55 ml of plasma and 45% of the blood cells. Do you follow? So 45% of the blood cell, that is only 45 ml you will get. 45 ml you will get once you extract all the blood cells and platelets. Okay, other things will be the plasma. Yes, okay. So then we have the average blood volume is about 5000 ml or 5 liters in adults whose weight is about 70 kg. Plasma mainly consists of water for 80 to 92%, and then inorganic constituent is about 0.9 and organic constituent is about 0.1%, and other respiratory gases are dissolved in this plasma. There are 4 main types of plasma protein, that is they are synthesized in liver. Okay, so what are the 4 types? Albumin, globulin, prothrombin and fibrinogen. So what is the role of albumin? Is to regulate the osmotic pressure, and globin helps in transport of the ions, hormones, lipids. Okay, and also it helps in the immune function because immunoglobulin is being produced. And prothrombin, so prothrombin and fibrinogen are involved in the blood clotting mechanism. Organic constituents include urea, amino acid, glucose, fats and vitamins. And inorganic constituents are chlorides, carbonates, phosphate, potassium, sodium, calcium and magnesium. So you have to by heart the composition. Okay. So the composition of plasma does not always constant. It just fluctuates based on your intake and the place where you stay. Okay, so immediately after the meal, the blood in the hepatic portal vein has very high concentration of glucose. hepatic portal vein contains more of glucose immediately after your meal. Okay, because it is just transporting the glucose from intestine to the liver. Okay, so you should note this point here. Glucose is stored in the liver in the form of glycogen. Storage house for the glucose is liver, but it is stored in the form of glycogen. Okay. The concentration of the glucose in the body gradually falls after some time, after the meal, because it is absorbed. Okay, if it is too much of protein is consumed, the body cannot store excess of amino acid formed in the digestion of protein. The liver breaks down excess amino acid and produces urea. If you take more of protein, there is no use. It will be sent as urea. Blood in the hepatic vein has a high concentration of urea than the blood in the other blood vessels. So, namely hepatic portal vein and the hepatic portal artery contains more of urea. Okay, here the structure of RBC is given cross section. It shows the biconcave structure. Okay, and there is no nucleus, as you know. Red blood cell does not have nucleus. Do you know why? Because the red blood cell nucleus is getting replaced by the protein that is called as the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is responsible for carrying oxygen. So if there is going to be nucleus, there is no enough space for the globin to be present. Do you follow? So this once RBC is produced, it is having nucleus. Later on, it is getting degenerated. Okay, so that place is getting occupied by this hemoglobin for the purpose of carrying oxygen. Where this RBC is produced? RBCs are produced from the bone marrow. Okay, so we are going to learn about RBC now. Human RBC is about 5 million to 5.5 millions in a healthy human, and 4 to 5 million or 4.5 to 5 million RBCs are generally being present in the healthy woman. Okay, the RBC is very small and its size is 7 μm, and the structure of RBC is shown in the picture that we have seen. And the RBC has no nucleus because of the presence of the hemoglobin, and the respiratory pigment is red in color, so it gives color to the blood also. Okay, so and hemoglobin plays a major role in exchange of gases. So biconcave shaped RBCs increases the surface area to volume ratio, hence oxygen diffuses quickly in and out of the cell. RBCs are devoid of the nucleus, mitochondria, ribosomes and endoplasmic reticulum. The absence of these organelles accommodates more hemoglobin, thereby maximizing the oxygen carrying capacity of the cell. Okay, so the average lifespan of RBC is in healthy individual is about 120 days. So what is said here? The lifespan of RBC, once it is produced, RBC is produced, it will be there in the circulation only for about 120 days. After 120 days, it has to get degenerated. Okay, so it is getting destroyed or degenerated in the spleen. So spleen is called as graveyard of RBC. Okay, so the erythropoietin is the hormone secreted by the kidney, is kidney in response to low oxygen, that helps in the differentiation of the stem cells of bone marrow to erythrocytes. Do you follow this? Erythropoietin is a hormone from the kidney. It helps in the production of erythrocyte. So this erythropoietin will go and stimulate bone marrow to produce RBC. That is what is given here. And the process is called as erythropoiesis. Production of RBC is called as the erythropoiesis. Then when this erythropoietin is secreted, when there is less in oxygen, the body understands that there is no RBC in sufficient quantity, less of RBC, so that there is no oxygen or less in oxygen seen. Okay, so that it produces erythropoietin. Okay, the ratio of red blood cell to plasma is expressed as hematocrit, packed cell volume. Okay, so the number of RBCs present per plasma that is called as hematocrit value. Okay, then WBC, as you know, they are colorless white blood cells, amoeboid in structure, and they are nucleated and they are devoid of no, that is, it is not present. They are devoid of, no, it is not present. That is what devoid. Okay, where have we come across this word? Some of the fishes are devoid of teeth. What does it mean? There is no teeth. Likewise, devoid of hemoglobin. There is no hemoglobin. Follow? So it is devoid of hemoglobin and other pigments. Approximately about 600 to 800 WBCs are present per cubic millimeter of blood. Okay. So then depending on the presence and absence of WBC, it is presence and absence of the granules. They are called as granulocytes and agranulocytes. Their presence, they are characterized by the presence of the granules in the cytoplasm and are differentiated in the bone marrow. So they are also being produced by the bone marrow. Why the word differentiated is given? Bone marrow is producing stem cell. Stem cell can change itself into RBC. Stem cell can change itself into WBC. The change only, they are giving it as differentiation. Understood? So then the WBC types are given here. Neutrophils are called as heterophils and they constitute about 60 to 65% of the total WBC, and they are phagocytic in nature. What is phagocytosis? It is engulfing the pathogen. What are pathogens? Disease causing organisms. Okay, eosinophils. So they are non-phagocytic cells and they show increase in number, or they are present in more quantity during the allergic reaction. Basophils, their total they form 0.5% or 1% of the total WBC count, and they are large size and fewer than the eosinophils. Okay, so then we have the structure of agranulocytes. They are lymphocytes and monocytes. Lymphocytes are 28% of the WBC and they are large. Round nucleus is present. Small amount of cytoplasm is present. There are two types of lymphocytes. They are B cells and T cells. So B and T cells are responsible for immune response, and B cells produce antibodies and neutralize the harmful foreign substance. T cells are involved in cell-mediated immunity. Monocytes are phagocytic cells and similar to the mast cells. Okay, so they have kidney-shaped nucleus, and they constitute about 1 to 3% of total WBC. The macrophages of central nervous system are the microglia. Macrophages of central nervous system is called as microglia. In sinusoids of the liver, they are called as the Kupffer cells, and pulmonary region they are called as alveolar macrophages. In different regions, macrophages are differentially named. Then we are coming for platelets. So far we have learnt about RBC, WBC, then coming to the platelets. Platelets are otherwise known as thrombocytes that are produced from the megakaryocytes. They are produced from the megakaryocytes. They are special cells in the bone marrow. Okay, and they also lack nuclei. Nucleus is singular, nuclei is plural. Okay, so blood normally contains 1,50,000 to 3 lakhs platelets per cubic millimeter. They secrete substance involved in coagulation of the blood or blood clotting mechanism. The reduction in the platelet. Reduction in the platelet leads to the profuse bleeding. That is what we say in the case of dengue fever. Do you remember when dengue fever is just found in abundance in an area? What do they check for? What will they check for? Platelet count. Why they are checking for platelet count? If it is getting reduced, it may cause the bleeding of blood. Internal bleeding may occur. That is why it seems to be very, very dangerous. So the platelet count should not go down. It should be in the proper count. Do you follow? Okay. So the genes in the so far we have learned about the platelets. Only so much is given. So if there is not going to be proper in count of the platelet, the internal bleeding can also occur. So today's class we have learnt about the general note about the circulatory system and composition of the blood in detail. So next class we will learn about blood grouping. So it is one of the interesting topics and you are familiar too. Okay, so we'll meet in the next class, students. Please take notes while you are listening to the class and copy down the question bank questions in your classwork and submit for correction. Thank you, students.